Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm going to wait just a minute since it's just right now 6:30. We had more registered, but that happens. People register and then they go, I'm running late, or I've got a million things to do, or I have to cook dinner. So there, we got some more coming in. Okay, well, thanks for joining me tonight. I'm excited to share with you guys all about our bioidentical hormone replacement program here. Let's give it another minute. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and start since it's now 6:31, and if they miss something, they can always ask questions later. So just a brief intro. I know some of you, or one of you, just to let you know, I'm Trish Banks. I work here at Renew. Whoopsie, this is a virtual screen. This is not what my office looks like. Oh no. Behind me really is a bunch of messy books at Renew Health and Wellness. And I have been employed here for 9 years, almost. Yeah, it is 9 years. And I have been a client for 10. So I came in on the hormone program here, the same thing that I'm going to talk to you about tonight. That's how I came in. I was suffering from all the stuff we're going to talk about tonight, you know, the symptoms, and looking for some relief, and found it. So I have been here ever since, and excited to share this program that really saved my life and thousands of others. So it's a wonderful therapy. We are in Glen Allen, Virginia. We have been open for now over 10 years. We have grown to an incredible level from when I started. When I started, there were 3 people that worked here. It was little, but now we've outgrown our office spaces. We've got over 15 employees now, big medical staff, and thousands of clients. So it's been rewarding to get to see the growth, and the reason it has grown is because it works, and we have expanded. We've got a weight loss program now. We do aesthetics. We're doing a lot of different things. So I don't want to talk more about that later. We've got a big event coming up. I want to invite everyone to. It's our virtual open house, and I'm going to give you information. It's weird how the screen works, isn't it? You have to hold it right on you. It's December 16th, and it's a Zoom. But the reason I'm bringing that up to you now is you're invited, and you can register on our website at renewmetoday.com, and I'll type that in later. But we give away a ton of stuff at that as well. So we give away 6 months of our hormone program. We give away a weight loss program. We have drawings all night. So anybody who attends has a chance to win. And it's a lot of fun. We do it every year. And the last 2 years, it's been virtual because of COVID. We used to have an open house, and people would come in, and we'd, have food and libation and stuff, but now we do it virtually. So I'll talk to you at the end of our time together about that and give you the information for that. But now I really want to focus on why you're here, and that's to learn about our bioidentical hormones and how they work and what they are, and I'm excited to share that with you. So I'm going to get started with the PowerPoint. I'm going to, once I start that, I'm really not going to see, I won't be able to see your chats, but when I'm going to open the chat box, and everyone, so when if you have a question, you might think of a question during the PowerPoint, and go ahead and type it in there. Feel free, and I'll come back to all of the questions at the end of the PowerPoint. So let me go to that. I'll share my screen with you. Okay, and let me make this bigger. There we go. So as I mentioned, it's bioidentical hormone replacement, and that's what we call it for short is BHRT. So we hardly ever say bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It's too long. So if you hear me talking about BHRT, I'm talking about this. Okay. So what is it? Well, so we have hormones when we're young, right? As women and men, we are circulating. For men, it's testosterone with a little bit of progesterone. For women, it's estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. So we have pretty good levels when we're young. We should anyway. And so we have energy and stamina, and we can build muscles, and we can grow, and we operate pretty well in our lives, and hopefully. And then after we reach a certain age, or we maybe have, if it's a woman, you might have a hysterectomy or have your ovaries removed. You hit something we call, for women, menopause, and for men, andropause. And for men, it simply means their testosterone levels are dropping or low. For women, it means that we're not making hormones. So our hormones go wiggy for a little while, which we call perimenopause, and then they eventually go away. So once your ovaries are completely retired, they're gone. And so what we need to do is get our levels back up so that we feel like we used to feel. And that's what we do here. We take you back to levels you had. For men, levels you had in your 20s, and same thing for women, because it's healthy, it's safe, it protects your body, and it takes care of your symptoms. So, we'll talk a lot more about the symptoms coming up here. So what we use here, bioidentical hormones, are identical to the hormones you made. They're not synthetic. They don't come from pregnant mare urine like synthetic hormones do. And those are the ones that are linked to cancer, not what we have. So there is not a link with bioidentical hormone replacement and cancer. It's because it's natural, and it comes from a vegetable, and it's identical to what you used to make. We're going to replace what you're missing. It's going to communicate perfectly with your receptors. So we have receptor cells. They're like messengers. They perform tasks in your body. So when you lose those hormones, your body does not perform the tasks as well. So you can, start forgetting things. You can say, I've got a foggy brain, my joints hurt, I'm not sleeping, because you don't have the messengers and the hormones your body needs. Scientific research continues to accrue in support of BHRT. There's a ton of it, actually, and I have some here. So hopefully if you come and see me, I can get you loaded up with some of the studies. But it's a wonderful, healthy thing for your body. It's very protective. And even for men, the testosterone helps with your heart health. There's a big study. So we'll talk about that too coming up. And they have been used safely around the world since the 1930s. So we have a long history on BHRT. Who needs it? Well, anybody, everybody whose hormones have either dropped or you're out of whack. Imbalance. We also treat women in perimenopause. We treat younger men. We have men in their 30s in here. I had a 28-year-old come in, and for whatever reason, when we did labs on him, he was in the tank with his testosterone. So it can happen at any age for men and women, for them to be imbalanced. And so we would definitely do lab work to find out what's going on and what kind of hormone levels you have. So why do you need it? Well, improved health is the number one thing, in my opinion. I mean, when I came in here, I'm going to be really honest. You know what I wanted? Symptom relief. I went through menopause early, in my early 40s, and I didn't find this place until I was over 50. So I had about 7 years of pain and suffering. So I came to the conclusion that I wasn't going to get better. I was not improving at all. I was getting worse. So what started out with the hot flashes, the night sweats, and the waking up, and the brain fog, and it just continued into weight gain and more fatigue and no sex drive whatsoever. So I went through 7 years, and I realized this doesn't improve. You don't go through menopause. You don't go through andropause, and there's some other side. You come out and you go, oh, I'm back. It's me. It just continues until you take care of it, which is what we do. So that's why I came in. But why am I, going to do this for the rest of my life? Well, that reason, because I have better quality of life, but health. So what a lot of people don't understand is the loss and the lowering of your hormones is actually the lowering of your health. I'll be honest. Bone density for women, a huge concern. When hormone levels drop, at high risk for osteopenia and osteoporosis, your neurotransmitters stop firing on all cylinders. I have a study on that, men and women. So they suffer from brain fog and memory loss. So your cognitive function is affected. Joints, your joints lose their gel. So we need moisture. We need gel in our joints. We need moisture in our skin. So after, when your hormones drop, you dry up your joints and your skin and other areas for women. And what happens is that you start having joint pain, or I did. I have arthritis, and it just totally hit me after my hormones dropped. Now that I have good hormone levels again, I still have arthritis, but it doesn't hurt. So that's a big reason for me. Other health is muscle. That's a big part of issues when you get older is muscle loss. So when we lose our muscles, we have to worry about our balance. We start to have to worry about gaining fat because, muscle is your metabolism. So basically muscle loss means your metabolism is slowing down, and hormones increase muscle mass. So help you to build new muscles. So that's so protective as you age. So you don't have to worry about muscle atrophy. So there's a lot of good health benefits to it. It's very protective of the heart because the heart's a muscle. So every body part benefits from it. Your skin and your facial skin, your collagen, all of that really helps retain moisture. So we already talked about the quality of life issue. No more hot flashes or night sweats. I haven't had one in, 10 years. So it's great. Better sleep, better mood. So if you're suffering from anxiety or depression or irritability, not when you're balanced, you're back. So great quality of life, and sexually, believe me. So I'm, now in my 60s, and I will tell you, have the best intimate life of my entire life now. So that's what it does as well. And then I also mentioned the protection already about, protection against osteoporosis, against heart issues, against dementia and Alzheimer's. That's in that study that I have that I would love for you to read. It's fascinating. So what are your options with the hormones, bioidentical hormones? Well, there's different delivery methods for them. You've got oral. So those are pills that you swallow. You've got sublingual. That's like something you put under your tongue that's going to absorb through the membrane under there. You have transdermal. Those are creams and patches. So creams you rub on, patches you wear. And then you've got pellets. So each of these delivery methods is valid and is used today. We use the pellets and a sublingual in our program. And so what is a pellet? You're probably thinking, well, a pellet is something that it looks like a little Tic Tac, and it's compounded in a compounding pharmacy out of natural ingredients. We would insert that in your body, back here in your hip, for men and women, and it time releases for 3 months. So your levels go up, and they stay nice and steady for 3 months. So we don't like oral, and there's several reasons for that. The main reason we don't is because it goes through your liver first pass, and especially for women with estrogen, we don't want it to morph. So there's 3 kinds of estrogen. There's estradiol, estrione, and estrone. And estrone is the nasty one. Unfortunately, with oral estrogen, your body, as it processes it, can convert it to estrone, some of it, which we don't want. With a pellet, it doesn't go through your liver like that. So it goes directly from the pellet into the bloodstream, into the receptors where it belongs. So that makes it a much safer option. It also makes it much more consistent. So if you take a pill, just like if you take a Tylenol or an Advil and you have a headache, you're going to have to take another one in 4 to 6 hours. So your level goes up, but then your body flushes it out and it drops, and you have to take another one. Same thing with hormones. You'd have to take them every day, and what would happen, your level would be high, but then your body would flush it out and your levels would drop. So you're on a roller coaster, which is not great when you want to feel good consistently, right? Transdermal is the same thing. I did the creams before I came to Renew. I rubbed them on in the morning or rubbed them on at night. I felt somewhat better. It's better than nothing. The issue with the creams is consistency, though. In Virginia in the summer, it's hot. You put your cream on, you're running out the door to go to work, you hop in your hot car, and within, you feel like a minute, that cream is like sweated off onto your clothes. So you can't get proper dosing with creams, and you certainly don't have consistency. They also get flushed out. That's why you have to put them on in the morning and at night, because you do not stay steady with the cream. Patches are a little better. You have a little more consistency, but you have to change those out twice a week. And from what I've heard, they end up usually on your sheets, or I haven't used them, but I've heard about them from my clients, or on your husband. So maybe not the best delivery method. Pellets we love, because pellets are, like I mentioned, inserted under the skin. It's not painful. They numb you up. You don't feel it, and you don't feel them once they're under there. And the actual insert site is tiny. It's like a grain of rice. But the benefit to it is it just works behind the scenes 24/7, and your levels go up and stay consistent for the 3 months, which is wonderful. All right, now I just mentioned all this, but I'll just go through it again. Consistency, 24/7 delivery. I did not mention the safety aspect of this. So we can use much lower dosing this way, since we're not going through the liver, and we're not worried about the fact that it's going to be flushed out of your body. And we know your body's smart and pulls what it needs when it needs it. We can do much lower dosing with this than you would with oral or creams or patches. So to give you an example, when I actually did synthetic. When I very first went through menopause, I went to my doctor, and my regular doctor, and she gave me Prem Pro, which is a synthetic estrogen progesterone pill. And I took it because I was miserable. I had to work, and I was having hot flashes all the time, and it was embarrassing. And so I took it, and it helped a little bit with the hot flashes, took the edge off, I would say. But after I did them for a year, one of my coworkers at the time got breast cancer from her Premarin, and directly from her Premarin. It was estrogen positive, and she was 70. She wasn't making any estrogen. So I got scared, and I said, I'm not taking these anymore, and went off of them. So what I was taking, when you look at the little Prem Pro, was 1 milligram of estrogen a day and half a milligram of progesterone. So 1 milligram of estrogen over 90 days is 90 milligrams of estrogen. And so that I'm swallowing, it's going through my liver and kidneys and all that good stuff. I'm processing through my gastrointestinal tract, right? 90 milligrams. Here, I get my pellets every 3 months. I'm either doing 6 milligrams or 10 milligrams. It depends on what my labs say. We dose it based on your labs. And I have no symptoms at all. So we can do much lower dosing, and it does not go through the liver, and it goes directly where you need it. Same thing with men. And so it's a wonderful delivery method, and it's convenient. Okay, so what can you expect? Well, increased libido for sure. So get ready. If that's fallen by the wayside, it will come roaring back. Improve muscle tone. Now you do need, you're not going to turn into a bodybuilder unless you're working out like a bodybuilder, but it protects the muscles from atrophy, and you can grow new muscle, with this testosterone on board. So you will see much better results from your workouts with the hormones on board. As I mentioned earlier, increased skin elasticity and moisture, increased bone density, reduced risk of heart disease, and I have a big study about that. No more hot flashes or night sweats, better mental clarity and focus, and energy. Oh, that's a biggie. Didn't mention that. It was shocking to me when I got my hormones back. I'd been a couch potato basically for 7 years. I was exhausted when I get home from work, and I just crash, like, don't bug me. I didn't want to do anything either. I completely lost my motivation without my hormones. When I got on the pellets, watch out. I would get off work. I'd be like, wow, I still feel like going to the gym. I was sleeping, so I'd wake up in the morning and have energy and hop out of bed and, whistle, go to work. I mean, it was a complete turnaround mentally and physically. So you can expect this. I hear it all the time, women and men going, wow, I feel like I did 20 years ago. So improved sleep, better mood, better mental focus and clarity and memory, vaginal moisture and rejuvenation. So if you're any years post-menopause for women, that area can dry up like the Sahara Desert and that tissue gets very thin and atrophy. So sex can become painful. With this, it reverses that. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. No more painful intercourse or dryness. And for men, improved erectile function increases blood flow. So that's a big bonus. So what's the process? And it's the same for men and women here. We start with lab work. Now the labs are a little different. Women, we get our FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, tested. That's kind of an indicator of how your ovaries are performing. For men, they get a PSA. We don't get that. That's their prostate numbers. But other than that, they're the same. And it's a CBC panel, which is a complete blood panel. It's all your hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. We check your thyroid. We want to make sure that's functioning well. We do B12 levels because we use that here as well. So get that back and you come back in and you meet with a practitioner. And they go over your labs and tell you where you are, where we want you to be. If you're low, well, then you move forward if that's your desire, hopefully. So they do a mini physical, listen to your heart and lungs and everything as well. They would also do your first insert. And as I mentioned, it's not painful. It's a quick procedure. They're going to put the pellets back here in the upper hip, kind of above your gluteus maximus and the fat. And when you leave here, you're going to have steri strips on there, little tape, a little pad over that. You can take the pad off when you shower, and you can shower, but leave those steri strips on for 1 week, and then you pull them off. And you'll also have a prescription for progesterone. We don't insert it. So we insert testosterone and estrogen for women, testosterone only for men. And then we would fax a script into a compounding pharmacy for your progesterone. That goes under your tongue at bedtime as a sublingual because it's the sleep hormone. So we want you to do it at night. It's also great for mood, men and women, irritability, mood swings, anxiety. So you will love that. So you've got your insert, your levels are starting to come up. We will pull you back in 6 weeks, and that's to see where are you? Like, are you in our happy zone? We have a zone for each hormone we want you to be in where we know you're going to be safe and symptom free. We are conservative. We know we can always add. So you may not be in the zone, but you should be hoping starting to feel better by this time. But at 6 weeks out, we'll check. And then at 8 weeks, we do schedule what we call a booster or supplemental insert if needed. So it's always scheduled. If you don't need it, we call you. We say, you don't need to come in. Your levels look great. If you do need it, you won't get a call. So you'll come in because it's on your calendar. That's for your booster or supplemental. That'll be a little bit more of whatever you're not in our happy zone on yet. Then we're still going to see you in just a couple of weeks after that, because we're going to want to insert you again at the 3-month mark, because that first insert is going to be dissolving. So every 3 months, we're going to draw blood first to see what we need to give you, because your dose is going to change depending on, there's a whole bunch of factors, stress, activity level. So depending on what your level is will depend on what your dosing is for your insert. So we always check your labs before we insert. So at that point, from that point forward, it would be every 3 months we would see you. I will mention that sometimes men can go longer because they get more than we do. So if you come in at the 3-month mark for a man and you're still rocking and rolling at, let's say, 1,000 in your blood serum, we would probably say, listen, let's do labs again in 30 days. Just to give your body a chance. We want to make sure that they're, we don't want to add when you're all the way up here. We don't want to overdose you on this. So we would keep labbing you every 30 days until we saw declining. And once we see it declining, we reinsert. So, but for women, trust me, we need them every 3 months. We just have two little tic tacs in there. So you would definitely be inserted at that point. So what hormones do you get? Women, Well, and this is important, patients are dosed individually. So it does depend on what your labs reveal. So some of our perimenopausal women are still cycling, or they may have sporadic cycles, but they still have bad symptoms. So when we check, we'll say, oh, wow, your estrogen is off the charts. It's called estrogen dominance, and it happens a lot in perimenopause. So they're making a ton of estrogen, but their other hormones are gone. So they have nothing to balance it. So they have a lot of nasty symptoms, breast tenderness, weight gain, just irritability. And I'm speaking to this because it's men don't really get this. Men's hormones just kind of drop off gradually, right? But women go through kind of most women go through kind of a tough period there, even before menopause, called perimenopause. So I just want to address that they do not get estrogen from us. They would just need the testosterone and the progesterone. So it really depends on what your labs tell us, what you would get here. But for women, typically postmenopausal will get all three: estradiol, testosterone, progesterone. And then, of course, the estradiol and testosterone are in pellet form, and the progesterone is a sublingual that I mentioned earlier, the one that goes under your tongue, you'll get from the compounding pharmacy. And you will pay that to the compounding pharmacy. It's not very expensive, about $33 a month for the progesterone. Men will just get the testosterone pellets, and if they need progesterone, oh, here we go. And that's for sleep for men, and they just need a little bit. So they just get, we do low dosing on that for them just to help them get a good night's sleep and curb any irritability. But same thing for men. We dose you based on what you need, on how much you need. There's a formula for it. And you'll get testosterone pellets and progesterone if needed. Okay, so now we're at the end here. So I'm going to take you back to the chat to answer any questions you have. I will tell you, you may want to take a picture of this screen or jot this down. This is my personal contact information. I know you have my Richmond at Renew Me Today address. This is my personal one that I do check quite a lot more frequently during the day. So if you want to reach out to me by email, it would be trish.banks@renewmetoday.com. And our phone number here is 804-447-2332. So that's so you can reach me if you need me. Okay, I'm back. All right, so that's the PowerPoint, and that's hopefully took you through kind of how we do it here and the benefits to it. And certainly I have all the science that I was talking about here. We have a welcome folder that I put a lot of this stuff in. But I've been on them, like I mentioned, 10 years, and I'm going to be on them until I'm 100 years old, forever. And I find them to be the opposite of dangerous. I find them to be very healthy and very good for you, and really life-changing. So I would encourage you to do this. I don't know where you are in your life, and whether you're post or peri or don't know where you are, but we can certainly help you find out with the lab. We can certainly get you fixed too, get you up and going. So I will take any questions. If you guys have questions, you can type them in the chat box now. And okay, great. Thank you. So what is the cost of the program, and is it covered by any insurance? So depending, so men and women have different pricing here. So I guess I'll go through both of them. And then insurance is very individual. So we do not bill insurance directly. But if you have Aetna, AE, TNA, and some Blue Cross Blue Shield, and some other ones, I don't know, but I can tell you Anthem's not very good with this at all. Cigna, United, not great. But I always tell people, we'll certainly give you the forms with the coding and all that filled out. You can turn right around and turn it into your insurance company and see what you get back. I do find with Aetna, they do seem to pay pretty well on this, or I shouldn't say well, depending on what your plan is, but a lot of our clients say they get about 50% back, which is pretty good, certainly better than nothing. So, we will provide all the documentation and forms that you need. You just have to fill out like the cover claim form, put our stuff with it and send it in, and then, wait to see what comes back on the explanation of benefits. So the cost for the men is most of the guys here do pay quarterly. Okay. So they pay every 3 to 4 months as needed. Sometimes some of them go 5 months. So it really depends on how often. So there's not a good yearly number to give a man, because I don't know if you're a 3-monther or a 4-monther or a 5-monther. So a lot of our guys will just pay as they go. Typically it's $987.50 a quarter, and that's going to cover your lab, your insert, your follow-up lab, your booster, and anything you need for the 3, 4, or 5 months, and all the labs in between. So if you at 3 months you're still rocking, you don't pay additional for the labs every 30 days. They are inclusive. Now, because you've attended my Zoom, you do get a $200 discount for the year. So that's going to drop your price down to $937.50 every 3, 4, or 5 months, depending on how often you need the insert. For women, the cost depends on how you want to pay for it. We have monthly payment options. We have quarterly, and you can pay in full for the year. For women, it's the price is normally, if you're paying monthly or quarterly, $31.50 for the year. It's a little less because you have less pellets. Our pellet cost is a lot lower. And you get a discount on top of that. So yours would be $29.50 with my Zoom. So monthly payments on that are $241 a month. Your first month is a little higher. It's $500 down. Then the following 11 months are $223, because you get the discount. Oops, $223 a month. And then if you pay quarterly, which means, and those are set up as auto debits, the $223. Or you can pay biweekly, just divide that in half and then pay half with each pay period if you want. A lot of our clients do that. So your first month is $500, following months are $223, auto recurs, and we set them up on whatever date works for you, and they come out automatically. If you do quarterly, you can pay at the window when you come in for your insert every 3 months. And that for you with the discount, hold on, $737.50 a quarter with the discount. If you can pay in full, like I mentioned, you would get a discount on top of your $29.50. You get another $200 off. It drops your yearly rate to $27.50, which is great. So definitely want to take advantage of that discount. So that's the cost. Does anyone have any other questions for me? And I know it's confusing for guys, especially with their, the back and forth with 34 or 5 months. How much is this really going to cost me? But it's totally worth it. I promise. And it's going to also protect your health as you age. So, that's the most important thing in life, in my opinion, is staying healthy. Okay. Oh, here's a Q&A. Oh, I just went through that. The cost out of pocket for women. And out of pocket is, so we're self-pay. You would pay us, but then you can get reimbursed if you have any of the insurances that I went over that, I would try it with any insurance and just see what happens. But if they come back with this is not a covered service, there's really nothing that we could do to change that, honestly. Okay. Usually have more questions. I'm going to wait a minute because you guys might be thinking of questions right now. Or so maybe I did a really good job and I answered all your questions. What happens if you start and then after a year or two, you decide to stop? Is there withdrawal problems? No. And here's the good news with this. So what happens is you have hormones and you feel great. And then if you stop, they time release, and then they eventually, if you don't replace them, your levels just continue to fall. You'll go right back to where you started. So it's not, it's not really withdrawal symptoms from hormones. It just means you don't have them again. And so the same symptoms you came in with will return. So that's just from not having hormones. But our contracts are very open-ended, meaning if you say, gosh, I really want to try this, what if it doesn't work for me? Or what if I have to move? Or what if I lose my job? Or something happens and I can't do it? Our contract says you only owe us for services received, meaning we prorate it. So if you've only done a half a year, you only owe us for a half a year. If you know, so it's not like we're going to say you owe us for this whole year. Our contracts run year to year, and then, you know, we offer renewal if you want to renew, but, and you will, just letting you know, but we don't charge you if you haven't received the service. Okay. Oops, I got some more Q&As over here. Yes, 500 for your first month and then 223 monthly after that. Or you can do bi-weekly, meaning twice a month, and that would be the half of the 223, which is around, it looks like 110.50. I think I'm right there. Okay. Can you apply that to an FSA account? Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Now, TRICARE insurance, I'm not sure. I don't think so. Military insurance, I don't think so. But FSAs and HSAs work here. So we do provide letters of medical necessity. We provide any documentation they require. They usually want to see, you know, like an itemized billing statement so they know where your money went to, and we provide those as well. So lots of our clients, a good percentage, use their flex spending and health savings here. And that way it comes out of their paycheck. They don't even think about it, and they can save on taxes with that. And then that, of course, covers their services with us. But I'm not sure about TRICARE. I'll be frank. We do process quite a few. So maybe they are getting something back, because normally if you're not, then why get the forms, right? So we would certainly try for you to see and work with you. All right, let me see if there's any more here. Where I get the information to see if my insurance will cover it or most of it. You can call me. So we have the codes here. So the best thing to do is just to give me a call, yeah, that's probably it, or email me. I can send you the codes, email them back to you, so you can call your insurance and say, this is what I'm going to be having done, and here's the coding that they're going to be sending in, and what of this is covered. That would probably be the best thing to do. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay. All right, I think I got all the Q&As, and I think there's no more chat questions. Well, then I'm just gonna talk to you for just a second about our open house. I know I brought it up in the beginning. If you go to our website, I mentioned we're going to be giving away 6 months of hormones at this event. We're also, so if you go ahead and get started with me, like you say, Trish, I want to get started tomorrow, you can come see me, call me, and we'll get you in, and I'll talk to you about it. We'll get your labs. But let's say you win 6 months at our open house, I'll give you a refund for 6 months. Okay, so or if you're paying as you go, you get your first 6 months free. The other benefit to this, not only are we giving away stuff all night, all kinds of things, but we have deep discounts on this night too. Okay, so if there's a discount, I don't know what they are yet, above and beyond the 20, you know, your Zoom rate, $29.50 for women, 31, no wait, 30, what is it for men? Well, we don't do it by the year for men. So if we give away a bigger discount than that, I will give you a credit back. If you've already signed up, I'll give you a credit back. If you watch the virtual open house and then sign up with me and say you've been on my Zoom, then, you know, you'll have a nice discount. So, but this is a great evening to learn about us, not just about what I talked about tonight, but about everything that we do. So registering is at renewmetoday.com. I'll type it in here. It's our website. Many of you may have already been to the website, but if not, I think you guys have an option to save these chats or to print them. But this is our website, renewmetoday.com. And, you know, there's the registration link, should be on that front page. You may have to scroll down just a bit to find it, but definitely register. Wait, this is weird having the screen behind me because I'm disappearing. It's very strange. Parts of me, I've never done this for a webinar before. Let's see, my wife is 68 and has dermatomyositis. She's on prednisone, Plaquenil. This is safe for her. It's safe. It doesn't, medications with this, there's no interaction. So having, just think of it like this. It's the same as when you were young. If you could take this medicine when you were still, still had hormones 20 years ago, you can take that medicine on our hormones. I will tell you though, I'm going to be frank, the only medicine that we do have issues with sometimes are antidepressants, because antidepressants are serotonin suppressor or reuptake inhibitor. Some of them are. They kind of control the brain, right? So they keep you from falling into a pit, but they can keep you from climbing a mountain. So you're kind of like, So when you get your hormones going, typically you start to feel really good and you're happy. You go, wow, black cloud is lifted. I'm happy. So they give you a lot of joy, honestly. And the antidepressants can block it. So we do see that, not always, but it happens. We'll get somebody in the perfect happy zone and they're on a higher dose of Lexapro or Wellbutrin and they're like, I don't have hot flashes anymore and that's good. And, but I'm not like jumping for joy. And it's just because we're competing with that antidepressant for brain space up there. If your depression or anxiety came on because of low hormone levels, which very often it does, and so the doctors prescribe this stuff, then that's kind of a good thing, because we can get you up first and balanced, and then you can call your prescribing physician and say, hey, I want to feel these hormones. Can we titrate back on the antidepressants? And as you do that, then you start to really feel better on the hormones. So we have a lot of people have gotten off all their medications once they got started and got up in our happy zone. With your wife, I don't know what that is. I'm not a medical doctor or, in that arena. So I would say certainly I can check with our medical staff. If you want to send me an email about this, I will take it to them tomorrow and reply to you. But it doesn't sound like it has anything, prednisone is fine. We have clients that have to go on to that for sure. And I'm, Plaquenil, is that a blood thinner? Sounds like, I'm not sure what that is, but blood thinners, the only issue with that is when we do insert the pellets, they do make a tiny incision back there. So, oh, good. It's an autoimmune disease like lupus. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that it's an issue, honestly. If anything, it may help with it. I don't think it's an issue. But yeah, so what I would do with this is have you come in and bring her in and get it. We do a full health history when you come in. Our paperwork has, tons of information on what medications, what does you write, you can write in anything. And then there's a whole list of things that we ask you about your health. And so once that occurs, before we would charge you anything or draw blood or anything, I would take that to the medical staff and say, to our medical director and say, can you read over this? Are there any contraindications? Is there any issue with her moving forward? So that's how I think the best way to handle it. When I have something I don't know like that, I say, let me go check with our medical staff. I'll be back. So I take the paperwork in and they go over it, and they may come in and ask you some questions, and then they let me know, let all of us know if you're a good candidate for our therapy. Okay. Oh, I see something over here. I'm going back and forth from chat to Q&A. Oh, no, that was the same one. I think. Oh, no, this is a new one. Is it possible to become pregnant by jump starting with this process? No. I mean, we've never had it happen. If you're premenopausal, so if you are still cycling, sure. So so if you're having a menstrual cycle, the only thing we're going to do is give you some progesterone and testosterone. That isn't going to cause pregnancy, but we wouldn't want you to stop taking whatever birth control that you're taking. Now, if you're postmenopause, and we would know that by your labs. So when we draw initial labs, we're going to see exactly where you are by your follicle stimulating hormone. So once that hormone gets higher, like over 26, let's say your FSH is 40, your ovaries are retired. So we would have you wouldn't have to worry. We can't create eggs. So women have like a finite, not an infinite, but a finite number of eggs. And once the ovaries retire, really they're not producing. It means we're out of eggs. Okay. So they actually end up shrinking and they don't produce eggs. So then you can't get pregnant. And our hormones don't change that. We're giving you estrogen, but we're not changing your ovaries. We're not kickstarting them or jump starting them. They're still going to be retired. Okay. All right. I think that I've answered everything. Well, I really appreciate you guys joining me this evening. And I hope that you contact me. I hope you register for our fun evening. It's a lot. You're going to see a lot of testimonials that night, treatments. I'm going to be on, and Jamie, our physician's assistant, is on with me. We have a couple of special guests. So we try to make it really exciting and fun and draw names all night. So I hope you guys can join me. And I hope you reach out to me. You can email me if you have questions that you want to talk to me about in private, or if you're ready. I hope you are. Get a hold of me and we'll get you in and I get you going. So I appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. And if I don't see you, Merry Christmas. I hope I do, but if I don't, Merry Christmas to everybody. All right. Have a good evening.